Good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Hayden Coker Show Live, presented to you by Senator Lance Bell. Senator Lance Bell, the best man that I know and the best man that he knows. Welcome in, guys. It's a wonderful Thursday night. We've got a lot going on. We've got college basketball up at NC State and Duke. Women's, never mind. That's women's basketball. It's not men's. That's still women's basketball, though. But yeah, welcome in, guys. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're doing well tonight. We've got a lot to talk about, man. And we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to college basketball, but also when it comes to college football. So I'm going to round it off. I'm going to round the show off tonight, I believe, with a little we're going to round the show off with, I believe, some college basketball talk. I want to talk about some of the best teams in college basketball right now. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on. You've got some upsets brewing. You had Iowa State, who's trying to make a statement here in the latter half of the season. They're playing some really good basketball right now. Taylor Lipsey, who's just been out of this world, and played a really solid game over the last week against Houston. But just a fantastic game from him, and just Iowa State in general playing a really good brand of basketball right now. But that's not what we're here for tonight. Tonight we're here for something a little bit more special. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into this. We've got the top 3 SEC teams, HCS. All right. The Hayden Coker Show's top 3 SEC teams going into the 2026 football season. Now, this is obviously very much so premeditated, guys. This isn't even, we're not even close to the college football season. Okay. Now, are we? No, it's like 8 months away. Okay. I don't know math. Yeah, we've got a long time until we get to the college football season. How long that is? Yeah, well, you've got quite a few days. But we're going to jump into it, man. I want to go ahead. I want to break it down for you and tell you a little bit about where I'm thinking this is going. So let's just go ahead. Let's bring it up. We'll get the graphic up, Mr. Producer, man. So right there, boom. See, you have Texas, you have LSU at number 3, and then Georgia sitting in the middle at number 2. These are my top 3 teams in the SEC right now going into the regular season. Now, obviously, yes, this is way too early. But I think that with what Texas brings back, with what Georgia brings back, with what LSU added and also brings back, I mean, to me, these are the 3 best teams in the SEC right now. That's just where I have those guys right now. So, yeah, I personally love where LSU is. I love where Georgia is, and I really, really like where Texas is right now. If you look at Texas, obviously Arch Manning coming back, you're going to have and Trey Wisener, Baxter, both of those guys being gone. Yeah, it hurts them a little bit. But you get Hollywood Smothers in, who was originally a commit to Alabama, flips last minute to Texas. So, yeah, that's where we're at in college football right now. You got people who are transferred from a school, they commit to one school, they transfer, they commit, nope, they decommit. So it's kind of crazy how that works, but I don't know, it is what it is. But it's also weird in the high school, or excuse me, in the college football head coaching realm as well. But it's, to me, when it comes to college football in general right now, it's a mess. It's a mess. All right, we've got players throwing hissy fits because they can't get another year of eligibility. Whether that's Trinidad Chambliss, whether that's Joey Aguilar. I'm sure there's other guys out there trying to get some eligibility. There was a guy who's I can't remember who he plays for, but he's granted a 9th year of eligibility. Now, granted, he did have some injuries and everything. That's why he's granted that 9th year of eligibility. So I get that, but there's also a certain standpoint where I say, like, hey, you know what? Maybe enough's enough, okay? Maybe it's time for Indeed or LinkedIn, or heck, maybe your dad owns a construction company. Go work for that construction company. You know what I mean? No, but do what you want to do. But at the same time, holy crap, 9 years in college football? That just doesn't make any sort of sense to me. But obviously, I digress from that. Now, let's jump back into it. So let's jump into LSU at that number 3 spot right now, and my way too early top 3 teams. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's bring that up. Thank you, Mr. Producer, man. We've got LSU at number 3. Okay, now Sam Leavitt coming in at quarterback. In my in my eyes. Now, I don't know in how many people's eyes there are questions with Sam Leavitt. I'm extremely curious about Sam Leavitt. I don't think he's as good as people lead on. I think that he's a little bit overrated, and I think that coming into the SEC, he might struggle a little bit at times. Now, I'm not saying he struggles, the whole season or anything, but I think that Sam Leavitt has a lot of growing to do, and I think that being in the SEC this year obviously is going to help him with that. But at the same time, I just don't think he's as good as everybody says he's good. Says he is. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback in college football. I don't see that. I don't think he's a top 5 portal. I don't think he's a top 5 portal get by any means. I just don't. I think there's a lot of other positions out there that needed to be filled that were filled. And yeah, I just don't think that Sam Leavitt falls into that category of one of the top 10, portal players, top 5 portal players, whatever you want to call it. I don't have him there right now. But obviously LSU, they had some key gets. You had DJ Daugherty transferring over from Ole Miss. You have your Prince Will Unmamielen transferring over from Ole Miss as well. They're going to get their fair share of Ole Miss players, okay? It's just going to happen. Mr. Watkins as well over at the wide receiver position. That stuff's going to happen. But overall, I feel like LSU and Lane Kiffin has done a really nice job of putting together, for one, a transfer portal class, but also with just how they facilitated things. You bring Charlie Weiss Jr. over from Ole Miss. So guess what? Ole Miss is going to be lacking a guy now. So what's going to happen there? We'll figure it out a little bit later on. Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse next year? It's not going to be the same. It'll be better or worse, maybe. We're just going to have to see. I don't really know what to tell you other than that. So it's just, I don't know, man. Ole Miss is a crazy story, but obviously we're not focused on those guys right now. We're focused on LSU and what all they brought in. Charlie Watts Jr., I think, is a massive piece for this LSU team at the offensive coordinator position. Lane Kiffin retained Blake Baker. I believe he had other schools looking at him. I don't know if he actually ever interviewed. I know there was talk about him interviewing, but LSU was able to reel him back in. So Blake Baker being back at LSU this year is absolutely huge for the Bayou Bengals, and I think it's going to benefit them a lot. So yeah, we can talk about that all we want to. But yeah, right now that is where I have LSU. Trey Brown, wide receiver transfer from Old Dominion. He's going in. He's going to have a big impact. So LSU is going to be just fine. They are going to be in the hunt for the SEC championship next year. A question that I've heard is LSU in a position of playoff or bust. And I almost want to say no, because I think that for when it's Lane Kiffin's first year. Now obviously everybody can sit there and say, oh well, look at what Kurt Cignetti did in years 1 and years 2. I don't care. All right, I think that it's not always going to be like that. It's sometimes in some years it's going to take a little more out of some of these coaches. Okay, it's not just going to be year 1 turnaround. That's not how college football is now. Okay. Kurt Cignetti did a fine job. All right, Kenny Dillingham, he turned Arizona State around in great passion and great time. I don't think that is going to be something that just happens on the regular with all of these teams. Now, man, will it happen every year with maybe one team or maybe 2 teams? Yeah, maybe, yeah, possibly. But I don't think it's just going to be team after team after team hiring new coaches like Eric Morris at Oklahoma State. I don't think he wins 10 games this year. So that's just one of the many examples that I can give you. I don't think that Alex Golich is going to win 11 games this year. I don't think that John Sumrall is going to win that many games this year. I don't think that Matt Campbell at Penn State is going to win 10 games this year. James Franklin, could he win 10, 11 games? Maybe. I don't think it happens. So that's just a whole nother realm of conversation. But at the same time, you have kind of got to really reel it back in on that and say, yeah, this is not going to be an ordinary thing that just happens, Moving right now at number 2, and I think that Georgia have a fine job, but I also don't necessarily think that I don't think they're number 1 right now. I think that Texas had a great portal class. Okay, they have a great recruiting class coming in the SEC. Now, Georgia, they've got some key pieces coming back, and I think that with the will be just fine. Yeah, Gunnar Stockton, I feel like could in the SEC, much like he was last year. But here we go. So we are still live. I do apologize for the technical difficulties. But yeah, massive shout out to Steel 174 and the guys over at Steel 174. They do a really nice job. Thank you, Marty Gaston. Love you, man. Hope you're doing well. The guys over at Steel 174, they do a phenomenal job, and man, they've done a great job on one of the houses that they just got done building. That's Daniel Welch, Dawson Welch, Bobby Welch. Beautiful new home in Still, Alabama. It's gorgeous. I got to see a little video of it the other day. Looks really nice. Those guys are doing a really fine job over at Steel 174. So you can go on Facebook if you need a house built. If you need a house built, you need some help around your house, repairs, whatever. Man, they got you. Okay, so call Daniel, Dawson, Bobby, and those guys will get you taken care of over at Steel 174. That's STEELE 174 on Facebook. So get at them, man. Get at them. All right, now moving on. So as we move on here, we talked about Georgia. Now Texas is one of those teams that really just intrigues me this year. Steve Sarkisian, I think this year is sort of a prove it year. Okay, I really think they have to make the college football playoff this year. Now for Texas, it is a college football playoff for bust. It is. Arch Manning, he's got to play up to par. You've got to have that offense rolling. Okay, the play calling cannot be abysmal like it was at times last year. I think that this is a Texas team that can go out there and win it all. I certainly think they can win the national championship. Certainly think they can win an SEC championship. But in my opinion, I think that they've got to have it come. They have to have it all come together. Will Muschamp now, the defensive coordinator over there at Texas, and I think that's a massive piece for this Longhorn team. You look at what Will Muschamp has done as a defensive coordinator. He's done a fine job. Wasn't necessarily the greatest head coach, but he's been a great defensive coordinator, and he's proved that over the last few years, the last 5-10 years. I can definitely say that he's went out there and he's proved that. So now coming into Texas, I think that he can do just as fine a job anywhere else that he's done, or just as fine a job there as he's done anywhere else. So that's just kind of where I'm thinking right now with Texas. Cam Coleman transfers in, one of the biggest gets in the college football world this year. Massive portal get, man. Massive portal get. It came down to Texas, Texas Tech, Texas A&M, Alabama was in the mix as well. Ultimately, Cam Coleman decides to go to Texas, and the guy's getting paid a bag, man. He is getting paid. But now with this money, you're also going to have, obviously, you're going to have critics and whatnot. But with this money, you've also got to have a sense of, you know what, I can't play the same as I did last year, okay? I had some really great moments. Also had some really bad moments, okay? Look at the fumble in the Iron Bowl. Look at just easy, simple missed catches. And you just can't do that. You can't do that if you're making $4 or $5 million a year, however much he's making. So I think that Cam Coleman is obviously going to take a step this year, but he got to figure it out. We've got a bunch of firemen right here watching the trivia on the TV. I see them all. Look at them. Man, they're all trying to figure out what's what. They're wrong. They're wrong. But anyways, no, man, that's where I have Texas right now. I think that Texas is the number one team well, obviously they're the number one team in my preseason pick. But if they can just bring it together, we know Georgia's going to be there. We know that I really think that LSU is going to be there this year as well. If you want to throw Ole Miss in there, I don't really know about them this year. maybe a Tennessee, maybe a Alabama. We'll see about that. I don't necessarily think so right now with some of those teams, but Texas, I know for a fact they're going to be good. I think they finished the postseason, or by the time it's all said and done, I think they're the best team in the SEC at the end of the year. Now, when it comes to Georgia, I think they're up there as well, and then as well as LSU. Now, let's move on a little bit because we talked a little bit about some of the best teams in the SEC, but now I kind of want to jump into some talk about the non-conference games for the SEC. Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing for the Southeastern Conference? And I cannot firmly sit here and say that I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's a good idea. All right? I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's – now, when it comes to – and I don't really know – I don't know why this was the route that they chose. The NCAA's got a lot going on right now, a lot of problems. Charlie Baker come out today and said that he wants the NCAA tournament, the basketball NCAA tournament, to be expanded past 68 teams. Absolutely not. That is the most abysmal freaking idea I've ever heard. It is the most flawless tournament in the world. Don't touch it. All right, now, obviously that's a different story, and I'm going to have to talk about it another time because I don't feel like getting pissed off tonight. Right now, anyways. So, 9-game conference. You have a non-conference game schedule for the SEC this year. Is it a good idea? No, I don't think it's a good idea. I can't get behind it. I think that the more the SEC trends toward this, and if the toothpaste is out of the tube, are you going to bring it back in? You can't really do it. I don't think that they would go back to 8 conference games for the SEC. I just don't. I don't think it benefits the SEC at all. How does it benefit the SEC at all to go play 9 SEC games as opposed to the 8 SEC games that you were already playing and already kind of screwing you a little bit? Look at what happened to Texas last year. Okay, you already have the 8 conference games, and then you have I'm sorry, did Texas lose to Florida last year? Yeah, they did. They should have never lost to Florida. But Florida played really good in their home stadium against at the time, one of the better teams in the nation. Now, obviously, we come to figure that out, but that wasn't one of the top 5 teams in the nation, clearly. But I just don't see, man, firemen, man. The firemen are in the house. Do y'all work, man? Do y'all work? I don't think the firemen here work. We love the firemen here at Pill City. But no, man, like, legit, Texas makes the playoffs. They literally they don't lose to Florida last year, right? They make the playoff. But now you can make the argument, oh, well, they make the playoff if they don't lose to Ohio State. Well, yeah, maybe. That's also a valid point. But you also got to consider they also lost to a Florida team that had a losing record last year. We're going to take that into account. All right, now let's flip it over on the other end. Let's flip it over. Let's flip it over, and let's talk about how if you go say, well, they've already gone to 9 games. The SEC goes to 9 games. All right, Texas. Say they got to play Auburn. All right, in last season anyway. So say they have to play Auburn in last season. That's another difficult SEC game. Okay, now. Yeah, sure. Losing record for Auburn last year, whatever. That's fine. I don't really care about that. We understand that. We know. But we also know that they're a little bit better than what their record showed. So we also know that. We can also kind of sit back and understand that. But when it comes to a 9-game schedule, why would you add another game? Plus, you have to play a 9-game conference schedule, and then you also have to play a Power 4 team or Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know, man. It doesn't make sense to me, but obviously a lot of people are going to see it a little bit differently. The Big Ten was the best conference last year. Now, were they the best top to bottom? I don't know if I would say top to bottom. They had some really good teams in the upper echelon of that conference. You're talking about if you want to put Michigan up there, you can. Sure, I don't necessarily think they're one of the top teams in that conference, but middle of the pack, maybe you want to call them that. Let's look at Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. Those are 3 really solid teams. USC was up there as well. If you want to talk about Michigan too, guys, no matter how you want to put it, the SEC last year in the postseason was 1-4 against the Big Ten. The Big Ten demolished them. Now, we can also sit back and say that it wasn't the top 4 teams in the Big Ten against the top 4 teams in the SEC, because it wasn't. You had Ole Miss, who played Georgia. All right, Ole Miss had to play Group of 5 JMU, or excuse me, we're going to have to play Tulane. Ole Miss had to play Tulane. Then they go on to play Georgia, an SEC team. Then Ole Miss has to go on and play Miami, the best team in the ACC. So was Ole Miss the best team in the SEC? It's a good possibility. Now, Ole Miss and Miami, that would be the matchup that would be top of conference. Because I thought that Ole Miss, after they eliminated Georgia, I thought that that's the best team in the SEC right now, obviously, because they just beat Georgia. But that's just kind of how I felt at the time. That's how I still feel right now. I still feel that way. So I don't know, man. If you want to sit there and say that the SEC was the best conference last year, sure, fine, go ahead. But the top of the conference was not as strong as the Big Ten. They showed that with how they played. You go to the top to the middle of the conference, they showed the SEC that they were a little bit better. They did. I mean, they went 4-1 in the postseason, so you can't really argue that. I mean, in my opinion, you can't argue that. Indiana blew the doors off of Alabama. Now, was Alabama the best team in the SEC? No, they weren't. They were probably around the 4th or 5th best team by the time that it was all said and done. But that's just that. It's fine. Indiana went out there. They took care of business, and they handled it the way that they should have. And even freaking more. I don't think anybody out there thought that it was going to be a 45-3 game or whatever the final score was. But Indiana went out there. They toyed with Alabama like there were some leftovers. It was bad. Like, it was so bad. So I don't know, man. Does it make sense for the SEC to go to nine conference games? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. Especially when you account that Power 4 or Notre Dame game every single year. That's annual, by the way. So it's going to be every single year. So I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. People can argue with it. People can say, oh, yeah, man, I think it's a good idea. I think it brings a conference revenue. Sure, revenue, perfectly fine if you want to talk about that. Maybe, yeah, it does bring the conference a little bit of moolah and whatnot, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to simply the fact that it's not a good idea if you want to get more teams in the playoff. It's just not. All right. Now, obviously, we think the college football playoff is going to expand at some point. We don't know when that'll be, whether that's going to be 16 teams, whether that's going to be 24 teams. I don't know. But I also think to a certain standpoint, you got to think that, you know what, it's inevitable, so it's going to happen. We might as well accept it at some point. Toothpaste is out. The toothpaste is out. All right, let's move on. Lot to talk about, guys. We've already discussed a lot of the college football we wanted to discuss. We talked about the 9-game conference schedule. Now I want to get into a little college basketball, but not before I get into some sponsors real quick. Massive shout out to Senator Lance Bell, who sponsors the show. This is the Hayden Coker Show, presented to you by Senator Lance Bell every Thursday. Phenomenal job, man. So massive shout out to Senator Lance Bell and everything that he does. He is the best man that I know and the best man that he knows. Still 174. Massive shout out to those guys. Those guys do a phenomenal job at what they do when it comes to building houses. Just an amazing construction company, man. They do a really good job. That's Steel 174. That's STEELE 174. Those guys are still strong, still reliable, still 174. All right. So college basketball. College basketball, man, it's hot right now. It's hot. And we're going to talk about the NCAA expansion here in just a second. Real quick, before we do go anywhere, I do have to bring this up real quick because we talked about it a little bit earlier. And I'm going to bring up a graphic real quick so you can see that. If you're listening via podcast, you can find this on Facebook. But this is my top 3 teams in 2026-2027 season. So you can get that on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. So you can go there and find all you need to find when it comes to the graphics and everything. But now it's time to move on, man. It's time to move on. College basketball is occurring, and we've got some stuff to talk about whenever it comes to college basketball. Producer, get my face back on that screen. It's time. It is time, man. It is currently 6:24 p.m. On a Thursday night. Beautiful weather outside. It's been very, very nice. And just to think, in a few months, it would be daylight right now. It will be daylight right now here in a few months. And I'm excited for that. College basketball, all right? North Carolina took a tough loss to NC State. NC State absolutely manhandled the Tar Heels. Obviously, Caleb Wilson out. That's going to suck for North Carolina going forward. Don't exactly know when he's going to be back. If he is going right now. And, the, absolutely played a really good game as well. Alabama and few weeks. We're gonna get a bracket here in the next few weeks. We're gonna really see who get the bubble teams. Who's that going to be? Texas is kind of hovering right now. They're at that 10. They're at that 10 seed projection, I think, right now. So that's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen there. Kentucky, one of those teams in the SEC right now, but you don't necessarily know what's happening with those guys. They take a tough loss to Georgia. Is Georgia going to make the tournament? I don't know. Texas, I mentioned Texas earlier. Auburn looking like they're probably not going to make the tournament now, 14-12 on the year. So I don't know, man. It's an interesting topic, and we'll have a lot to talk about a little bit further down the line. We've got a few more weeks until March Madness, but we're going to have Paul Hippler come on here in a few weeks. We'll have him podcast as well, and you can catch that one. So I'm super excited for that. We love yearly Paul Hippler, man. So super excited for that. But when it comes to college basketball down the stretch, man, watch out for some of these top teams because they're going to start the drop. Now, they're not going to fall out of the tournament, these top 10 teams. They're going to start the drop. They're going to start the drop, man. Texas Tech, they got upset the other day by Arizona State. Now, Texas Tech, JT Toppin goes down. JT Toppin, one of the better players in the country, and he tears his ACL. So that's not necessarily not a great thing for Texas Tech. It's not a great thing for anybody to see. Like, we all hate to see it. But for Texas Tech especially, this is not good. one of their best players, if not the best player on their team. And the fact that he's gone now for them, that really sucks. So, man, yeah, you hate to see it, but that's college basketball, man. It's going to happen. Injuries are going to happen, and it sucks, but it happens. Now, Creighton knocked off UConn last night. UConn, one of those teams that I was kind of thinking they were hovering around that 1 seed. Now you don't necessarily know. We don't know where UConn is going to end up. They're probably going to end up around the 2 or 3 seed. I would imagine they'd be a 2 seed. If they wind up at 10, because I think they were at 10 at one point. Now, if they drop because of this loss, yeah, I think they drop a few spots. They're probably going to end up on that 3 line. But it just depends on how they finish the season, because this is not the strongest year for the Big East. St. John's is not the strongest that they have been. UConn, they're back up there after a down year, and it's good to see those guys back. But Creighton, not like they were last year, not how they have been. You take a look at some of the other teams in the Big East. Villanova stepped up this year. Providence, not necessarily there. Xavier, not necessarily there. So I'm a massive Big East guy. The FS1 games, we love them over there. I absolutely hate that, the teams like Providence, the teams like Seton Hall even has fallen off this year. We thought that was going to be a team that makes the tournament with Coach Saheed Holloway, but right now that's not necessarily looking like a thing. You look at the Big 12 and what all's going on with the Big 12. You got some teams who are really hovering outside of that tournament watch. Oklahoma State's right there. Is it going to be TCU maybe? We don't necessarily know. College basketball coming down to the wire. Watch some of these teams. Watch some of those lower tier Power 4 conference teams, Power 5 conference teams, because it's getting interesting, man. It is getting very, very interesting. Take a look out for the Big East. In the ACC, Miami is killing it right now under first-year head coach Jay Lucas, who came over from Duke. So, man, just watch what all is going on right now in college basketball. I promise you will not be disappointed. But for now, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. We've had a lot going on. A big week for everybody. I know it's been busy. Keep going. You're just fine. Don't keep that head up, man. You're going to be all right. But anyways, that is it for us tonight. Be good. Take care until next week. I need you to be here. Don't go to jail. I need your viewership. So, guys, man, take care. Be careful. And thank you so much for tuning in on the night show of the Hayden Coker Show. I do appreciate it. You have a good one. Take care, and God bless.